Rob Dawson here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fanta.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph Children.
DJ Khaled, you not a big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands thrown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Pastner.
You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
They have no swag. They have no nothing.
Terrell McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 after dark.
Welcome to the Field of 68 After Dark on this Tuesday night, March the 5th, 2024. I'm John Fanta. Matt McCall is here, and Jeff Goodman is here tonight wearing a Purdue Boilermakers cap for all those that are listening to us on Sirius, but also wearing a very special T-shirt on this Tuesday evening that reflects the madness. What are you wearing?
Let's go P, Fanta. The best shirt in America, right? Austin P with the big win tonight in overtime that continued. And we'll talk a little bit about it later. A-Sun Madness. And there's nothing better. McCall knows, you know, when you get into the SoCon, when you get into some of these one-bid leagues, especially when you get in the quarterfinals and things start to go crazy, that's what it's all about. Like, this is honestly, maybe in some ways, the best week of the college basketball calendar, because you just got all these kids that are excited that crazy things happen all over the country.
I mean, it's insane. It's what makes it the best month of the year, no question about it. And you've got to play your best. Winning is hard, Jeff. Winning is hard. Bottom line.
Winning is hard. Winning on the road is really hard.
At this point of the year.
So the Atlantic Sun, we're going to get to it later, but this also reflects this time of year. The semifinals of that conference tournament will be a number 2 seed in Stetson taking on the number 10 seed Jacksonville, who beat the top seed Eastern Kentucky. And the other semifinal is number 4 Austin P hosting. They didn't think they'd be hosting. They're hosting another game. I love campus sites conference tournaments. They're going to be hosting North Alabama. We'll get to that later. But you love this time of year. We had a top 15 showdown tonight. Purdue goes into Champaign to take on Illinois. Shot clock winding down, less than 20 seconds to go, and Braden Smith says, "Good night, Illini." Purdue 77, Illinois 71. The Purdue Boilermakers are 27-3. Jeff Goodman, Purdue, finding a way. They complete the season sweep of the Illini. What did you take from this game?
Well, I thought this was kind of the one win that you wanted to see from them this year, because they had come out of the gate so well earlier in the season, you know, winning games on neutral courts against really good teams. And obviously in Indianapolis, I was there, they beat Arizona. So they've beaten a lot of really good teams, but the Big Ten isn't that strong. We kind of looked at it as a 2-horse race. Purdue and Illinois, and the one tough game was going to be have to win in Champaign. And they go down, you know, they go down 6, they go down 10, and Zach Edey's carrying them in the first half. And then the second half, they did what they're going to need to do in the NCAA tournament. He's going to need to get help. He's gotten it all year, and he got it in the most difficult, I thought, atmosphere that Purdue played in all year. Like you said, Braden Smith hit a big one. Fletcher Loyer hit 2 huge ones. Lance Jones, when Zach Edey grabbed an offensive board, he could have put it right back up. What did he do? He passed it to a wide open Lance Jones who hit a 3. So it's kind of everybody helping out. And Loyer, to me, is still that X factor. Because, again, when he's going, man, are they tough to beat.
Coach McCall, your takeaways from the win for the Boilers to go to 27-3 on the season.
You know, I think you looked 2 weeks ago and you had this game circled because you thought, all right, maybe this is what the Big Ten is going to come down to. It's going to come down to this game. Purdue had lost a couple. Illinois, you know, had won a couple. And we're like, okay, like now let's see who's for real. And all year it was like, okay, who's the second best team in the Big Ten? And then we got to 2 weeks ago and it was like, all right, we may find out who's the best team in the Big Ten. And Purdue just proved it. They proved it again tonight. And whether it's Loyer, Smith, we know what we're going to get from Zach Edey. but they proved it tonight, and they proved why they're in the category in itself in terms of them, UConn, and Houston, of the 3 best teams in the country. But they solidify themselves tonight, much like they've done all season, on who's the best team in the Big Ten. Really, really impressive win. And look, this is what they're going to have to do. In tight games, other guys are going to have to step up. It's not always going to be Zach Edey to be able to make a play. Other guys are going to have to be able to step up and make those types of plays, and they proved it. And those guards have continued to grow, get better. Lawyer, Smith, they've been through a lot. And they were the ones that were taking the blame for what happened last year. I've said this all season long. That team is comeback focused. They're hungry. They're determined. I don't think there's any way that they don't get to the Sweet 16.
Jeff, are you all in on Purdue being in I'm going to go further than the Sweet 16. I'm going to say being in a regional final, because we all know how the tournament works. But after everything that you've seen this season here, but let's face it, now is the time to answer this question. We've given it months and months and months. If I'm giving you the chips, are you willing to back Matt Painter and the Boilers to say, yeah, they're going to be in that regional final. They're going to be 40 minutes from Arizona?
So, yes, because I trust Braden Smith every night for the most part. Now, he wasn't great in the first half, but pretty much I trust Braden Smith to show up every night. He's a different player than he was a year ago. I've talked about this before. Last year, you got to remember, he didn't play all preseason. He was coming off that injury, didn't do anything. So I think he wore down a little bit. Plus, you didn't give him enough help in the backcourt. Now you've got a veteran. You've got Lance Jones. I don't always trust Lance Jones's decision-making. I think he takes some bonehead shots sometimes, but he's willing to take them. He's willing to take them, and I think this team needs a guy that's fearless. And Mason Gillis has been terrific shooting the ball this year. You know, Hummel goes back at me all the time when I'm like, I don't know if I trust them shooting the ball. He's like, well, they're the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country. And I've kind of said all year, well, yeah, they are in the regular season, but what are they going to do when it matters most? Are they going to freeze up again? I don't think they're going to freeze up again. I think this team is for real. I think they're a year older with their key pieces with Braden Smith and Lawyer. Still, I'm worried about a little bit, but he's going to have an off game or two in the tournament. But you know what? There's other guys certainly capable of stepping up, and you got the best player in the country who gives everybody uncontested threes.
Coach, I know that you believe in Purdue. I want to flip this, though, to the other side of the game. All right? Illinois, this was an opportunity. They dropped to 22-8. They shoot 4 for 16 from 3. Honestly, to be in the game to the degree they were in it, despite really allowing Purdue to hit 5 more triples, there's a slight encouragement there. The other side is Terrence Shannon. Purdue defended him. Purdue locked him down, did a great job of guarding him. Purdue held Terrence Shannon to 3 for 13. What's the takeaway from the Illinois side of things? And Coach, as the month of March rolls on, what's your honest expectation level? What determines what the Illini are going to do in March?
Fanta, I think you just hit it. Like this was a close game. And Purdue shoots 56% from 3, and Illinois shoots 25%. Like, the game should not even been that close if you're looking at based just on the numbers. So Illinois is for real. They just didn't play that great tonight. And they kick in a couple more threes, and the outcome of this game could be completely different. So I don't think I would not be shocked if Illinois is a Final Four team. They have the talent. Domask, Terrence Shannon didn't have his best stuff tonight. Credit Purdue's defense for how they played, but this game was a couple made shots, and I know this is cliche to say from being completely different, but to think that Purdue shoots 56% from 3, and Illinois shoots 25%, and it's just a 7-point game, and was literally back and forth the entire game. That's something to be said about Illinois. I mean, they were right there.
Jeff, what's your thought process with Illinois? Because last night we talked about this, and the biggest thing was, like, yes, they are potent offensively, but they kind of are what they are, which is a good team, could make the second weekend, but to us, at least last night, that was about it. Like, if they make the Sweet 16, that would be a real accomplishment. But I don't know if they're going to get past the round of 32.
Well, that's the problem with Illinois, right? Like, you've got two dudes in Shannon and Domas that are awesome. And again, Shannon, the key to him is you got to get him in transition. Like, if you can get him in transition, nobody's stopping him. But if you force him to rely on threes, he's a different player. That's what you got to be able to do. I thought, again, listen, Illinois, what they did, they basically said, you know what? And it worked in the first half, which was we're going to play Edie 1-on-1, and we're going to make the other guys beat us. And in the first half, they didn't really do enough. And then in the second half, again, they made those key shots. They made open threes. They got going. Gillis made 2 in a row. Again, Lawyer made a couple shots. Lance Jones made one. Braden Smith made a dagger at the end. So it's like, pick your poison. What do you do with Zach Edey? I mean, honestly, what do you do? If you double him, then again, these guys are going to get open shots. If you try to play him straight up, he's going to eat you alive. So as long as Illinois gets Shannon going in transition, they have a chance to beat almost anybody. I still feel like these guys have to work for too much. They got to get it in transition because in the half court, they don't have a point guard that makes their life easy. They don't have that dude. Ty Rodgers is not a point guard. He's not. He's a great guy coming off the bench who's just a dog, and he gets after it. And I know Underwood loves him, but this team is missing what they thought Sky Clark was going to be. Right now, obviously, he's at Louisville now. He transferred out, but that's what they thought he was going to be when they signed him. They don't have that point guard.
True, McCall?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but I do still think that
Oh my goodness!
I
am so sorry. I am so sorry for cutting you off. I have to cut. We're in real time. At the buzzer, Georgia Tech has just shocked Wake Forest at the Horn, 70-69. And on this Tuesday night, March the 5th, the 2023-24 Wake Forest season has come to an end. Any parting words for Steve Forbes' team, Jeff?
So, John, I'm just tweeting just to make sure I can do this. John Fanta has officially
Wow.
It's over.
Can I say
It's over.
buried?
It's over.
Is that fair?
No.
Buried Wake Forest?
No, I haven't buried Wake Forest. Damon Stoudemire did. Georgia Tech just ended Wake Forest season. Wake Forest has now dropped 3 in a row. Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, and at home to Georgia Tech. That's it, McCall. I'm sorry, but that's over. And the ACC is going to get what?
It's hard to argue. It's really hard to argue with that right now because you had that in front of you. You had it in front of you, and they're winnable games. And yeah, you're done.
I blame.
You don't deserve to get in.
I blame the court storming. I blame the court.
We'll tease it for later. We'll get back to Purdue, Illinois here. McCall, is that what's holding Illinois back? That they don't have a point guard?
I mean, you could say that, but again, the talent, Terrence Shannon, despite what everyone says and everything that's transpired this year, you're talking about a guy that's a top 5 player in the country.
But it doesn't make people better. But Matt, you need a point guard to make people better, to make lives easier. You know this. What's the most important thing as a college coach that you want to have? What is the most important
shot making. Shot making.
Okay. That's fine. In shot making, they have that.
Created the game when he put the peach basket up there, put the ball in the basket. Shot making.
Okay.
Shot making.
Fair. But don't you have a ceiling on your team if you don't have quality point guard play? You can win a game here. You can win a game there. Maybe you can get to the Sweet 16. And again, for Illini fans, that might be a success. But you're not going – I don't think you're going further than that this year. I don't.
I don't disagree. I definitely don't disagree. But I wouldn't be shocked is what I'm saying with the parity in college basketball. Because I think we're going to see a team that makes it to Phoenix that none of us are talking about. right? Like we talk about the three.
You
We talk about Purdue, we talk about UConn, and we talk about Houston. But there's going to be someone that makes it out there that none of us are expecting.
Yes.
There is. Much like last season. We never thought San Diego State and FAU were making the Final Four. No, like we never thought that. So would I be shocked if they make it because of their talent level? No, I wouldn't be shocked. Would not be shocked.
Here's the stat that I bring up with this. I don't like to overwhelm people with numbers, but this is one that sticks out. 19 of the last 22 national champions since 2001 ranked in the top 31 of adjusted defensive efficiency when entering the tournament. The three teams that did not: 2021 Baylor, 2015 Duke, and 2009 North Carolina. The lowest ranking of those teams was 44th with Baylor a couple years ago. Illinois, not top 50, not top 60, not top 70, not top 80, not top 90, not top 100. They're 103rd. They don't defend well enough. They don't defend well enough.
And over the last month, actually tonight was probably the best they've looked defensively in a month. But over the last month, if you look at it, they're probably closer to 200 than 103rd. I mean, honestly, they've been abysmal lately. And I heard Hummel say it on the broadcast, or Barta, one of them said, we asked Brad Underwood, like, why? And Brad Underwood was like, I don't know why we've been so bad. Because, again, they have the talent. It's not like they lack the talent to be a good defensive team. And that's what scares the hell out of you.
Purdue, 27-3. They've done everything.
Hey, they're the number one overall seed now. Fanta, we can give them the number one overall seed, I think, unless they lose in the first game of the Big Ten tournament. Their resume is, to me, clearly superior now than anybody else in college basketball.
Well, they already had the most combined Q1, Q2 wins. They just added an 11th. So you've got 11 quadrant one wins. There are some teams that don't even have like 7 or 8 combined quadrant 1-2 wins. Between their Q1 and Q2 wins, they have 17. 17. Yeah. That resume is unbelievable. And I got to say, we've said this before, but Jeff, to your point, this team has done everything in their power to show that they're the best in the country, right?
You know what they've also done? They haven't hid, kind of like Tony Bennett did with Virginia after losing to UMBC. Matt Painter hasn't hid from it. He takes it head on, and you have to do that.
Embraced it.
Yeah,
embraced it.
That's right.
Embraced it. 100%.
Up next, we go to the Big 12. Kansas back in action like Kevin McCullough. What did he do? Plus, Bubble Watch. Whose season stays alive? This is After Dark.
What's going on, guys? Before we get back to the show, I need to let you all know about the Field of 68 Daily, an all-encompassing college basketball newsletter that arrives in your inbox, you guessed it, daily. For less than $1 a week, you'll wake up every morning to more than 1,500 words detailing everything that you need to know to stay up to date on the world of college basketball. From the notable mid-major upsets to the stars that are out injured to the breakout performances that only our team of college basketball junkies watched. The Daily is edited and produced by Mike Miller, who spent more than 2 decades running NBC's digital written content, and is subscribed by more than half of the Division I coaching staffs, the biggest names in college basketball media, and the agents that work as power brokers in the sport. For just $50 for the year, you get access to the same information that the insiders get. And before we get you back to your regularly scheduled Field of 68 content, let me tell you guys about the Field of 68 merch store. Head over to field68.shop for officially branded Field of 68 apparel. Whether you're supporting your favorite team in the student section or from the couch, there is no better way to gear up than the latest from the Field of 68. The best thing I can say about our merch is the quality of the product. Anyone that has ever worn a t-shirt knows how frustrating it is when the neck gets all stretched out and the bottom of the shirt starts looking like the bottom of bell-bottom jeans. And there's nothing worse than a hoodie that loses its snugness that makes it such a perfect way to stay warm during the cold winter weather. Whether you're shopping for yourself or for the college basketball fan in your life, everything you need is at the Field of 68.shop.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. John Fanta, Matt McCall, Jeff Goodman here. Hey, a reminder, Last Call is now on the Stadium app. You can participate in fun games. You can join us with some questions. We're on at midnight exclusively on the Stadium app. Do not miss us there. Night 2 tonight. We had great questions last night. Tyler Hansbrough even got asked, would he rather spend 5 minutes fighting a bear or living with Jeff Goodman for a week? He chose the bear.
Of course he did. Tyler's so cruel. Come on. I'm a good.
Is Tyler unfair, Jeff, to Big Blue Nation?
Yeah, I think he is. I do. I think Tyler just enjoys poking the bear that is Big Blue Nation at the end of the day. That's what Tyler does.
It's amazing that the hatred towards Big Blue Nation by him.
Doesn't he live in Kentucky part-time too? I think he lives. I think we need to get Big Blue Nation his address in Kentucky.
I think he does.
No one is giving. We're not doing that.
Imagine them.
Dangerous.
Actually, who would win? Wait. Here's my question to you. Tyler Hansbrough against 25 Kentucky fans. Who are you taking? Random. 25. Just a random collection. Tyler against 25 Kentucky fans. Yes.
The 25 fans, Jeff. It's one human against 25 people. He's not the big show in WWE.
Psycho T?
I don't know.
All they got to do is draw blood. If they draw blood, it's over. He's going to go ballistic on him. I'm taking Tyler.
Wow, you're taking Tyler Palm. Wow. Yeah, the new metric that debuted. Updates.
The analytics tell me. Yeah.
The analytics tell
me I'd take
He's
Tyler.
an analytics guy.
Yeah. Palm is updated every hour. Tyler Palm updates every 10, 11 days. It'll be updated. All right, here we go. The second biggest game of the night came down in Gainesville. Alabama at Florida. Now, over the weekend, Florida's in position in Columbia, and they collapse again. They lose to South Carolina. And, they had Alabama in Tuscaloosa. They lost that game in overtime. So this felt like an unleashing tonight. Golden Skaters win 105-87. Coach McCall, you said during the break, do we want to talk about non-existent defense? 105 by Florida. Alabama's been giving up 100+ now multiple times in the recent weeks. How concerning is this for Bama?
I think it's very concerning. And you're talking about a team that going into the game against Tennessee this weekend, they're competing for an SEC championship. And this is after giving up 117 points on the road to Kentucky. So they turn around, they go on the road today after losing to Tennessee at home in front of an unbelievable crowd. I guess probably every single celebrity that ever went to the University of Alabama or ever worked for the University of Alabama was in there. We had Nick Saban, Justin Thomas, the golfer. Kalen DeBoer was in there. Everybody was in there. Tennessee goes in, finds a way to win that game, made plays down the stretch. So Alabama, you're thinking, okay, turn around today, play against Florida on the road. They're going to respond. They're going to play well. This is the second best team in the SEC. Give up 105. So that's a concern. I go back a couple weeks ago when they played Florida at home, and I was critical of their shot selection coming down the stretch. And they had that game. That game went into overtime. They were up 5 in overtime with a minute to go and came down and bombed threes. And I said coming out of that game, I just don't know if they take the right shots. The game's on the line. A 5-point lead with a minute to go with the ball. And I get that's how they play. They shoot a lot of threes. But, man, I was critical of their offense. But their defense, to give up 105 on the road tonight, 117 to the Cats, they got to figure that out before they get to Nashville for the SEC tournament.
They're just not that talented. They're just not that good. They've lost a lot of games early in the season. Their metrics were really good early because they played some teams tough, but they couldn't get over the hump. But ultimately, they have no rim protection, none whatsoever. We saw them a couple weeks ago in person. Other than Mark Sears, they're underwhelming. Nate Oates has done an incredible job with this team, given the circumstances, and I think it's caught up with them at this point. Grant Nelson, he's okay. he's okay, but he's not a dude. And, Jaron Stevenson isn't ready. Estrada's good, but is he good enough? And he doesn't have that gear. So, like, you've got Sears is kind of your dude, and he's a small guard. Well, Florida's got a lot of good guards, right? They can throw a lot of good guards at you. And again, the biggest thing, they have no rim protection. They have nobody that wants to defend at a high level. Nate Oates has tried. Even when we were there, we talked to him about it, and it's gotten worse since we were there. They played well against Texas A&M, and they just don't seem to give a shit, honestly, about guarding and trying to get better on that end.
I couldn't agree with you more. And like Aaron Estrada's a gifted offensive player. If you watch Hofstra at all, they just don't. He didn't guard at all. He didn't guard at that level. What made people believe he was going to guard at the SEC level? And it translates. Like, here's the thing: if you don't have rim protection, sometimes you can maneuver your way through, right? McCall, but when your guards aren't the first line of defense and are letting dribble penetration happen at will, like Florida scored 105 points. If I said that to you two heading into the game, you might have said, okay, well, did Florida hit at least 9 or 10 threes?
14.
You know what they did, though? They went to the line. They went to the line 46 times.
46 times. SEC record, Jeff. SEC
Is
record.
it 46 times?
Free throws
they made
in
40.
Was an SEC record. Getting to the line.
So making 40 had to be a record. Right.
46 times was a record.
What does that say? And that's what everybody's going to do against Alabama, because you can. There's nobody there waiting for you. So I just think, again, when Charles Bediako left early for the NBA, and he was, I think, a two-way G League guy who got hurt this year. So, like, the decision didn't look so bad. He got it two-way. He made whatever $500,000 or he's set to. But that was the killer. That was the killer for them more than anything else.
Jeff, Florida has won 6 of their last 8 games. Walter Clayton didn't have the best night from the floor. He did go 15 of 16 from the line. They continue to get good production from Zion Poland, Kyrie Samuel. Well, how would you evaluate year 2 of the golden era, and should people in Gainesville be excited?
Yeah, I mean, they've played well lately. I think they've won 5 of the last 7.
6 of 8.
They put this team together well, right? They've got veteran guards. I'm a huge Walter Clayton fan. I still feel like that was one of the biggest portal additions of the offseason. Golden's done a good job. I mean, right now you look at it, and again, they were a team that a month ago was on the outside looking in. Now you're talking about them being like on the 5 line maybe after this win. I mean, you could justify them being on the 5 line right now. That's crazy to me. But it just shows you, when we make these determinations of teams in early January, right, coming out of maybe non-conference play, and we're like, they're dead. Like, you're not these days. If you go on a run, we've seen it with Arkansas for a few years in a row before this year. You see it with Florida, even St. Mary's, right, is a great example. We buried them back in January, even December, and they're in the WCC. It's not even a league where you're getting a lot of quality wins, but they got Gonzaga once, and they've just beaten everybody else. Not very good teams, but if you just beat everybody and you're playing a good enough schedule in the non-conference, you're going to be able to move up pretty quick.
So, McCall, SEC reset, if you will. Tennessee's 13-3. South Carolina is 12-4. Alabama drops to 12-5. Auburn's about to go to 12-5, beat Missouri. Kentucky at 11-5. Florida at 11-6. Assuming that we've all got Tennessee as the best team in this league, is Kentucky your number 2 team in this conference?
For me, they are. I just think that the talent that's out there on the floor, I love what Cal did over the weekend. I mean, he kind of let Big Z go, gave him extended minutes, played him more. I think, and I said this last week on the show, who's stepping up in the front court? He continues to start on Yeso, but
question.
he's just not giving him a ton. He's just not giving him production up front.
It's like one of every 5 games, Matt. Matt, it's like 1 out of every 5 games. Onyenso plays great, like he's a lottery pick, and then he does nothing for the next 3 or 4 games.
There's no consistency.
Crazy.
There's no consistency. So I like the fact that he played Big Z extended minutes, and maybe he's the guy they roll with.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Bradshaw's been up and down. Trey Mitchell's been in and out of the lineup. He's been hurt.
I just feel like defensively, Matt, aren't you worried? But aren't you worried defensively because you don't know who you trust, and you're at the end of the regular season, and you have no idea who you could trust of your bigs right now defensively. No idea.
Yeah, but I think again, it was the original question is who's the second best team in the SEC? Yeah. It's not Alabama. It's not them. No. Auburn's been up and down. Right. South Carolina has had their run. I don't know if they have the physicality up front. I thought Florida exposed that a little bit at home versus them or at South Carolina this weekend. So I just think Kentucky's talent is what separates them, to me, from the other teams in the SEC outside of Tennessee.
As well
Jeff,
as
we've got 50 seconds, Jeff.
You got 2 lottery picks coming off the damn bench. You should be really good. I mean, I know they're young, and we hear that every year of Cal, but now you're at the end of your freshman year. You're not quite as young now as you could say you were back in November and December. And you do have, Antonio Reeves, and as I always say, Matt McCall's boy, Trey Mitchell. So you've got a couple older dudes that were taught very well by their previous coaches. So I listen. Kentucky's upside's terrific. Their guards are awesome. I just have no idea who the hell you can trust up front.
That's a great segue to our next segment. Who can you trust of the Blue Bloods? We talked a little bit about it last night. We're going to dive back in with Carolina and Kansas both playing tonight. This is After Dark.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 as we all get ready for the best month of the year, March Madness. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD150 and you will get $150 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $5 of your hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD150. That's FIELD150. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $150 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD150 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available in one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in Philly or New York, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create a new account in each state. It's easy, it's simple, and it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the conference tournaments and for the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boost, and my personal favorite, a nice little parlay boost here and there. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark on this Tuesday night, March the 5th. John Fanta, Matt McCall, Jeff Goodman with you. Let's get more into the Blue Bloods. All right, North Carolina in action tonight against a Notre Dame team that entered having won 5 of their last 6 games. Final score, Carolina 84, Notre Dame 51. Meanwhile, at Allen Fieldhouse, Kansas rolled past Kansas State 90-68. Kevin McCullough Jr. was the leading scorer for the Jayhawks with 19 points tonight. Only shot 5 for 14 from the floor, but a good sign, Jeff, and that's exactly where I want to begin with you on this, Jeff, because this is as big of a player injury storyline as there is in college basketball. McCullough staying healthy. What did tonight say to you, and what does his presence mean to Kansas's ceiling?
I mean, without him, they have zero shot. of going to a Final Four. With him, they have a shot. I've said it all year. I don't think they can win 6 straight. But I think for Kansas, if you can get to a Final Four this year, that's a hell of a season with the lack of depth that they have. But as big as Kevin McCullough's health was tonight, and it was huge, him being able to play 29 minutes, end up with 19 points. The bigger thing might have been Nick Timberlake, who was 4 for 5 from 3 and scored 18 points. I know it was in a 22-point rout over rival Kansas State, but I'm not sure I care, Matt, because to me, it's all about confidence for Timberlake. And if he can string this one together and get maybe one more against, I think they play Houston next, then go into the Big 12 tournament with a little confidence. And then you feel a little bit better if you're Bill Self, putting him in the game and just saying, hey, you know what? Don't hurt us defensively and just make open shots because you're going to get them.
Totally agree. First of all, I'm still trying to figure out who was celebrating senior night. Okay, we celebrated.
Everybody.
We saw who's celebrating.
Everybody.
But who's coming back? It's like, okay, I'm going to celebrate.
Yeah.
If there's any question, it's like DeJuan Harris, Hunter Dickinson. Is there another year? We got the COVID year. Hey. But he may come back. He's going to celebrate tonight, but he may come back. Jeff, I couldn't agree more. And we're talking about a guy that was one of the most, if not the most sought-after transfers in the country in Timberlake, outside of Hunter Dickinson, right?
Yep.
When Hunter Dickinson went in the portal, you kind of knew he was probably going to go to Kansas or end up there. But Timberlake, everybody wanted. UConn wanted him. Everybody wanted him. With the numbers that he put up at Townsend, everybody wanted that guy. And, man, he has not lived up to those expectations. He struggled. And tonight was the first night. It's like, man, this is what they need.
It was the first one. The first one that you thought you got your NIL worth.
The lack of depth has been the biggest concern. The lack of three-point shooting. But this is what they need. And you'd love to see it for the kid, too. You love to see it because you know how much heat he's been taking in Lawrence. I mean, everyone's like, where have you been? Why haven't you reached your potential? You're killing us right now. Blah, blah, blah. But, like, to see him put a performance together, now you're like, okay, they're back a team that I think can make the Phoenix. They get McCullough back healthy, and Timberlake's going to play to that level. I think they can make a run.
He doesn't have to play at that level. He's just got to make 2 open threes a game. That's all he's got to do.
Right. Good. Can't hurt him. Can't hurt him.
Go 2 for 4. Go 2 for 4. Honestly, 2 for 5 in most games. And then you know what? You have a weapon. You have somebody that you trust to play 10, 12, 15 minutes off the bench that can spell some of those other guys because you can't – to me, you can't play 5. I know in the NCAA tournament you can get away with playing 7. 7's the number I think that's most people say you can get away with, but they don't have 7. They haven't had 7 all year. They've had 5.
No, 5. 5 is it. That's who they had.
So let's dive into this fun game. I want to hear, Jeff, your answer, then we'll go to Coach McCall. If I gave you this assortment, all right, Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Duke. 1 being the one that you have the most confidence in. 4 being the one that you have the least confidence in. Order them.
I've never, honestly, think about this. This question has never been so difficult since I've been in this business. Not one year, you at any time in the year, could you ask me this question and it be more difficult because we could all have a completely different order and it wouldn't surprise me. Like if we did this right now and why don't we do this? Write them down right now. You're 4. And so you don't look at mine or hear mine or anything and it sway you any which way. But you guys tell me right now who your 4 would be. And my God, it is virtually impossible. Like this is as hard a homework assignment as I've had since I was back in high school because I didn't really go to class at Arizona. So I would start with I got Carolina written down first, but I'm not even feeling great about it. I'm looking at it saying maybe it's Duke. I'm going to go Carolina because they're older. They're older to me. They've won consistently this year. They've got a great guard in RJ Davis, who's a veteran. So I'm going to go them number one. I'm going to go Duke number two. Again, a little bit older than Kentucky, in my opinion. They've got Proctor playing better. Flip has looked better lately. You've got McCain as a weapon. They're young, but not quite as young, I guess, as Kentucky. Then I'm going to go Kentucky, number three, because of the guards. Their guards are so damn good, but I question their bigs, like we talked about, and they're so young that you just worry about. They've been so up and down this year. I don't know if they're going to be able to string 3 or 4 together in a row. And then Kansas, which is crazy. I'm putting them 4. But again, I don't love, they don't shoot it well enough. They don't have depth. They have the best coach of the 4 by far, in my opinion. But ultimately, I don't think he's got enough depth, and the pieces don't fit to me well enough.
All right, Coach, present your arguments.
It's amazing because I went Kansas 1 because I think
Did
they
you
have the best
really?
starting 5. I went Kansas.
Wow.
I think they arguably have one of the best, if not the best, starting 5 in college basketball. And they have Bill Self, who to me is the best coach in college basketball. So I'm looking at the other guys and I'm saying, okay, Duke's been up and down. Carolina's been up and down. Kentucky's really young, and we haven't got consistency out of the front court. So I went Kansas. Then I went Carolina because, like Jeff said, RJ Davis, Armando Bacot, those guys have played in a gazillion college basketball games. I think they're better than Duke. We're going to see this weekend, obviously, if they can split the series. So then I went Duke, and then I went Kentucky last just because of the youth out of all these teams and the lack of production consistently out of the front court. But I'm with Jeff. This is hard. Like I mean,
Brutal.
Fanta, yours could be completely different. You could be completely different. I went Kansas 1 just because of how talented the starting 5 is. Timberlake showed that he can give them something, and they have the best coach in college basketball in Bill Self.
Mm-hmm. Here's my list. Carolina 1.
Yep.
I'm going with the upside play. Kentucky 2, Duke 3, and Kansas 4. So the team that you had at 1, McCall, is the team that I have in last. That's it.
Me too.
This is the hardest this question has ever been. And I'm not going to overreact if Duke gets revenge on Carolina Saturday in Durham. Frankly, Duke should hold serve at home. They should be able to split. But to me, Jeff, it's Carolina at the top because Davis and Bacot have done it before, and they've got enough around them to make this happen.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I think you're splitting hairs with all these teams. I think, and I hate to say it, it's the ultimate cop-out, but when you see the brackets and you see the matchups, that's when you start to differentiate. That's when we'll have a clearer picture of, okay, I really like them because of this draw, because of this matchup specifically. But overall, man, again, I just think Carolina's really surprised me this year, and they've won. They've won most of the year. They haven't had many ups and downs throughout the season. I trust them.
Up next, we'll go around the country with different topics. Also, we have a YouTube chat every night on this show. Someone paid $19.99 to ask a question about a team. We'll answer it next.
Big news, guys. I am thrilled to announce that we have partnered with Autograph, a company founded by the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best college hoops content, fan contests, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets, all for doing the things that diehard fans like you already do, following your favorite team in the news and listening to podcasts just like this one. When Tom, and yes, I am calling him Tom, we're on a first name basis these days, co-founded Autograph, he had one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. It works like this. You get all of your college hoops content you want in one place. You get articles from your favorite writers, pods from your favorite hosts, contests from your favorite creators, all on the feeds and the sites that you already enjoy. But instead of having to go to all these different places, it all comes to you in one spot, the Autograph Fandom app. But here's the best part. The more content that you consume, the higher you rank in the app. As you consider the level up in status on the app, you can unlock unique rewards curated exclusively for you. So download the free Autograph app in the App Store and use the referral code F68, that's F68, or tap in at the link in the description below or in the podcast app of your choosing to start earning points for doing something as normal as listening to this very podcast. It really is that simple.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. We are on Sirius XM. We're on X. We're on YouTube. We're on the Stadium app, coming up for Last Call at Midnight exclusively on the Stadium app. Download the app. Get the Stadium app. Join us. You can participate in fun games. You can ask us questions. We will answer them. So during tonight's show, I'm scanning the YouTube chat, and someone, I see $19.99. And then I see a question, and I text our producer, Dagan, I said, I'm sorry, Dagan, did someone pay $20 to ask a question to us? And he goes, you bet they did. If you're going to pay that much, we will answer the question on the show, especially on a night like this. So, Dave, I hope you live in the Minneapolis area. He must be a Minnesota fan. He asks us, and Minnesota's 18-11 on the year, certainly a step in the right direction, but just one quad one win. They've got Indiana next. Dave asks, Jeff, what's it going to take for Minnesota to make the NCAA tournament?
I mean, listen, obviously it's going to take them winning the Big Ten tournament and getting the automatic bid. They have no shot of getting it at large. However, again, if you're looking at it from Ben Johnson, year 3, it's been a major step in the right direction. You know, obviously they're 500 in the league right now, right around there, or they're 500. They're 9-9. 2 games left at home against Indiana. Indiana's played well the last 2 games. They've won 2 in a row, but you can win that. Then you get Northwestern on the road, a team that's kind of been banged up. So you could really go 11-9 in the league. And to me, you want to get to the NIT, and they'll do that this year. That's a major step. Get to the NIT this year, get some momentum, get some NIL, and hopefully year 4, you can be in contention maybe for an NCAA tournament, but it's not going to be this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, Anthony Edwards and Carl Anthony Towns coming over and playing for the Gophers. That would help. Slide over from the Target Center and go into the barn.
Yeah.
But I agree with Jeff. Like the job that Ben Johnson's doing, you got to show progress. You have to show progress, and that's what he's doing. He's showing progress. So credit him, credit his staff. But the only way they get in the tournament is if Cat and Anthony Edwards come over and help them win this Big Ten tournament. I just don't see it. But the progress that he's shown is exactly what this program needed to do, and they got to take another step next year. Next year they got to get in the tournament. Got to show progress, continue to grow, continue to get better.
All right, we're at 11:48. Are we ready for some quick hitters? Get around the country a little bit. Talk about some big storylines. Are you ready? Here we go. Jeff, they're now 18-12. They rolled tonight. They beat DePaul 104-77. They've got Georgetown Saturday. But this is a team now that has won 4 in a row, can make it 5 in a row and take a 5-game winning streak into the Big East tournament. Fact or fiction? Rick Pitino is going to dance.
Yeah, fact. I say fact because, again, you got the Big East tournament at the Garden. Major home court advantage. We know how those Johnny's fans are. Now, again, I wish I was going to the Big East tournament. No way. I'm going to the Big 12. I'm torn on this because the atmosphere at the Big East is like nowhere else. And this year it'll be incredible because of St. John's will have everything on the line. Providence might have everything on the line at that point. You know, you're going to have UConn, and those fans are puffing their chest out and they think their shit don't. I mean, look at Doster, right? I mean, he's the most annoying human being on the planet right now and has been for a year and a half. So imagine a bunch of Dosters under one roof like this in New York, heavily sedated, drinking, whatever they are. I mean, it's going to be
super convenient when I go to New York or Philly.
I mean, think about it. St. John's, Providence, and Seton Hall are all fighting to get in. Like, that's the coolest part of the Big East tournament right now. There's a lot on the line for, the only shitty part is Tyler Kolek may not play or may not be healthy. I think they should sit him for the entire Big East tournament. I really believe that.
I agree with you, because if Marquette doesn't make the second weekend of the NCAAs, the season goes down as a disappointment. This is about Marquette making the Sweet 16 for the first time in over a decade. McCall, St. John's, just briefly here, all right? Their net is 39. They have 5 quad 1 wins, okay? They have 4 quad 2 victories. So they have some good marks. They've got a quad 3 loss, but you look at Wake Forest, who was on the bubble. They got 1 quad 1 win. Colorado's on the bubble. They only got 1 quad 1 win. New Mexico's emerging near the bubble. They only got 2 quad 1 wins. St. John's has 5 of them. Is St. John's going to make the tournament, McCall?
Yes. Because at the end of the day, there's a human being element in this whole deal. Completely. Yes. And they're going to put Pitino in. Like, he's going to end up with 21 wins. I just don't see how the committee leaves St. John's out. You're looking at 2 losses that are kind of biting them in the back right now. And I look at the Boston College loss as one of them. The Michigan loss wasn't great. I mean, we were all anointing Michigan when they went into the Garden early in the season. We're able to beat them. Those are 2 losses that you're kind of like, man, if they weren't on their resume, they're a lock. But there's a human being element to this deal. I think St. John's ends up with 21, 22 wins, and I think the committee is making sure Rick Pitino is going dancing with the Johnnies.
Are you really going to pick Utah or Colorado or Pittsburgh over Rick Pitino and St. John's? Because you can justify anything.
It's still a committee, Jeff.
Don't understand.
There's people on the committee. It's not a bunch of computers putting these teams in. It's still a committee. I don't see how they're not in. Now, if they lose, this weekend coming up, and then they bow out in the first round, but I don't think that's happening. I think they end up with 21 wins, and I think they're in the tournament.
Our last 4 in feeling the 68 as of last night: St. John's, New Mexico. Yes, the bracketologists have Rick. Okay, what would that do?
First 4, baby.
Would you go?
I don't know if I'd go. I went to Dayton once. It's a long stretch anyway. To add Dayton to it makes it even longer for me. I'm not as young as you, Fanta, anymore. I used to bounce around every day. This time I'm going to Vegas the first weekend, so I have to pace myself. Right, like Dayton before Vegas would not be a good idea. Remember, I'm no spring chicken anymore. I'm going to need my sleep before I go to Vegas.
I love the fact that you're going to go Vegas, Boston, Phoenix. Talk about frequent flyer miles, Jeff.
Zigzagging.
I know.
Zigzagging across the country.
I'm going to the SoCon. Hey, this week, I'm going SoCon title game on Monday night, and then I'm going Big 12 from there for probably the entire time.
And is the SoCon down in Asheville?
It is.
Is that
greatest night of my life, Fanta? Don't tell my wife. Outside of my kids being born, greatest night of my life, Asheville, North Carolina.
How good is the atmosphere there? How good is the atmosphere?
It's elite. It's elite, especially if you get a Chattanooga or a Furman in the final, or Buckyball with Sanford's going to have a great crowd. There's nothing better. There is nothing better. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Which segues us tonight. If we're going to toast something, it's the Atlantic Sun.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Unbelievable. Jacksonville's a 10 seed, beats the top seed in the conference.
Jordan Mincy, baby.
Incredible win for Coach Mincy. Stetson beats Queens 83-71. The other 2 games just bonkers. Austin P 101-98. And my favorite thing about this Austin Peay win, a dramatic win, but I got to give a huge shout out to Corey Gibson. He jumped on the scores table. He's wearing fatigues. Coach Gibson, you
He's
better wear those
9-1
in the
in
summer.
He's 9-1, I believe. That's what I was told. He's 9-1 in those in the fatigues. He just texted me and said he'll tell me the story. I'm not sure exactly what the story is, but he said the fellas know what the pants mean. I'll tell you the story behind the pants when we get to the dance. So he was, man. I mean, think of the storylines though. Again, his first year back at Austin Peay, where he went. You got Donnie Jones, who led Stetson to its first 20-win season in 50 years. They did it without their big guy who tore his ACL. His starting big man tore his ACL 2 weeks ago. So they're the only – yeah, they're the favorite now. They're going to be at home for the duration. You got Jordan Mincy, who, again, McCall knows he's got some Florida ties there too. And Mincy was a hell of a player back in the day.
No, we need a Donnie Jones, Jordan Mincy, former Florida Gator assistant final in the A-Sun. That's what we need.
Listen,
Right down
you may get it.
I-95. Jacksonville,
Actually,
Stetson.
you can't
right
get it.
down
They're playing each
I-95.
other. They're playing each other in the
playing.
semis. They play in the semis because they go highest seed against lowest seed. Stetson's the 2, Jacksonville's the 10. So then you're going to have Austin Peay playing against North Alabama in the other one. Tony Peugeot, who's got a connection, also a Florida-ish connection. He coached under Anthony Grant, who was a Florida assistant.
Right. Hey, and don't forget about North Alabama. KJ Johnson hits a game winner at the buzzer against his former team, Lipscomb.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
It's March, Fanta.
It's March. Was awesome.
It's March.
It's March. And please, for the love of all that is holy, I don't want any expansion, but let the next proposal be the very last one because I never want this week to get ruined.
Are you okay with my deal for not expansion, but the play-in? Are you good with my play-in idea where you're playing the 8 final mids and lows against the 8 final highs to get into the main bracket?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be intriguing. It would solve a debate about who deserves, right, the mids, the lows, or the highs that finish. They're going to be like 13th in their league.
Yeah, it's a great idea because it sorts out the very debates we have every single time we get to this time of year. We'd rather take the middle tier high major or the low major. I got to shout out Dave Valinsky. He gave us another $20 to say this. This is how bad the Big Ten is this year. Minnesota has a chance to win 20 games and have 11 wins in the Big Ten and still not make the tournament. If you told me 2 years ago this would happen, I wouldn't believe you. Hey, join us for Last Call on Stadium. Jeff Goodman will give us a coaching carousel update. Get to the stadium app next. Good night.